is in the air now. Alright, so this is the second part of working on this Mustang that I have. So we're going to start working on mechanical stuff, namely brakes and suspension. Because this tire right here, I'm leaning on this. Ah, it's hot. That one's locked up. I think the brake hose is probably swollen shut. That's also the dirtiest one. So we got to replace that one. I've got Cobra brakes put on it. I've got new struts to put on it. We're going to start on the front suspension and then move our way to the back. And I've got way more for the back. I have had those SVT wheels for like 10 years now, just waiting for the right time to use them.
Yeah, so Billy likes to buy parts way ahead of time. I get it. You get a good deal on parts, you keep them. Yep. But these wheels, above everything else, this is Billy buying something way in advance, and it was perfect because it looks awesome on this car, especially with the Cobra front bumper with the Mach 1 lip. This thing looks awesome. We just have to make it mechanically great.
10 years and many states ago. These came from Georgia.
Oh.
We were in South Carolina.
Kind of like you did.
Yep. Alright. I'm very curious about this side of the car, because this side, the caster camber plate up there is shattered. This got hit, or someone hit a pothole on this side. I have new control arms too, so I have new wheel bearings too, so we're going to be doing a lot of replacing.
Oh yeah, you can see a crack right there.
Yep, it's even worse when you look at it from above. I guess first I'll get these calipers off. I have Cobra brakes that are going to go on here, so I don't need these brakes, these calipers, or the rotors, or the brackets, so these can go away. This is the one that's stuck, so this might... I need to save the cap. Do I need to save the cap? New one does not come with a cap, so yeah, I need to save the current cap that's on there. Please pop off now. Cap. Alright, this is supposed to be a 35, but I've only got a 36, so let's see if that takes it off. Yay! Now, Ford says you're supposed to replace these nuts whenever you take them off. I guess they have some kind of locking mechanism on them. The replacement ones that you can get have got a locking compound in them, and they actually fit a 36. So, okay. Now this comes, wow. Cool. That just comes right off. And what I've seen is you put like a little bit of grease on there just to kind of help the new one go on. And then the new hub. And this should just slide right on there. Oh yeah. Nice. New nut. That's got the locking compound. Just gonna run this down. Alright, this gets torqued to 258 foot-pounds, but this only goes to 250, so that's what it's getting. There we go. Alright, so apparently to get the front control arm bolts out, you have to undo the steering rack and move it forward. Otherwise these bolts are going to hit the tie rods. So this end is an 18 and way up in here is a 15. I hope these come out easily. Come on. I hear a lot of crunching going on in there, but it's coming undone, so that's good. Ooh. Yeah, I'm gonna put anti-seize on that after, before this goes back in. So now this should just... Why are you still stuck? Oh, it's that pin in the middle there. There we go. All right. Now, those bolts should be able to clear the steering rack. All right, before I take out the control arm bolts, I need to come in here and get right here. Oh, nope, here. And get the ball joint nut off of there. But to do that, I also need to support the control arm. So to support it, I'm going to put the jack underneath here because I need to hold the control arm up so the spring doesn't shoot out. So right now it's still under tension. Cotter pin first. Yeah, I've got new control arms that are going on here and they come with a new ball joint.
Nice. That's always helpful.
Yep.
Because we know how difficult pressing shit can be. We got it.
It's fine.
It'll be aight.
Alright.
I don't really need the light anyways.
No. Well, the 27 will work.
You get first time?
There we go. Huh. With the shock on, there's like 2 threads still holding the nut on. But I need to break that loose anyway, so it'll come down.
Huh.
Stuck in,
Yeah, it's still.
Would you kindly let go? I can't tell what's happening.
It's working a little bit. Yeah, there's when you're shooting off, so I would stand directly behind it. There it goes. It works.
Yep. Nice tool.
Oh, you know what it's caught on?
Huh?
It's caught on the bottom of the heat shield.
Oh. Yeah, it is. Huh?
Too far.
Oh, yeah, you can let it all the way down.
Okay.
Stuck to that one.
Crusty bushings.
There's so much goo. Front spring. It's just like stuck in the bushing probably.
Interesting, right?
Alright.
Mine was loose too.
Good, that one will behave. Yeah, look at that. Alright. Except it hits that.
Yeah, I just.
What? How? Why?
Is
it far enough out?
Trust an engineer.
Alright, yeah, look at this stuff. So, here's the bolt that just came out of this side, but it hits the subframe bolt.
Who designed this?
Yep, that wasn't coming out.
No, that center sleeve was very much rusted to the bolt, which is common on an old rusty car. This is not the first time. It is the second time, basically. This happened on my 2001 Focus back in the day. Usually, you just gotta cut it out. Luckily, it was only one side instead of both of them. That side came out fine, right?
Yep.
I guess this side gets all the road salt and stuff. So we'll either have to order another one of these or see if we can find one.
For once, I used the marks on the crescent wrench to read what size it was.
I know, I did that the other day and I was like, holy shit, it works. that thing scared the hell out of me.
What?
This thing started coming at my face. I'm like, ah! I get another big mark on my forehead. This is gonna pop. It's gonna scare the hell out of me.
Yeah, the other side popped too.
Yeah.
And Sam and I went, gah!
Yeah, I bet. I'm about to go, gah! It's got the nut on it, right? So it's not a fault. I thought there was dirt on the ground. It's rust.
Weight reduction.
Yeah.
That's what I told Billy earlier. Just weight reduction.
Oh, yeah, but like not the good kind. There's also that on the air thing.
That's a kill.
Same thing he's got. It's just one piece.
I did it.
Clean.
That's what's nice about their extra things. I was just doing on my car. You don't have to pop the ball drain out in order to adjust it.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
a nut on top.
Yeah.
I didn't reach that.
Barely. Cat light. Is the nut loose on that thing?
Drop ranch.
Almost had it. Ooh, I probably shouldn't have ducked down there.
It's a well choreographed team.
Yeah, so here's why those bolts stick. So you can see this is the one that came out easily. This one took all the work. You can see all the pitting. So it corrodes to a sleeve inside of the rubber bushing. So it's a steel sleeve in the bushing and this rust to it. So we're having to break that free by trying it over and over again and hitting with penetrating fluid. On the other one, it was so rusted together that we just had to cut the bolt off because we couldn't get it. But this one, which was on the back, was fine. This was on the front, and it got all the corrosion on it. I wonder why only the front one really gets corroded. Alright, so check this out. Here's the old stamping, the old control arm. Here's the new one. So new bushings, new ball joint. It's also a greasable ball joint. You'll notice that this control arm has a plate here that's been welded onto the bottom of this. So this is more like closer to a closed stamping. It's not completely closed, but it's closer to it than that is. So this will be heavier, but it'll be stiffer too. It'll be a lot stiffer than that one will be. Yeah, this will work fine for me. I didn't want to go with the tubular ones and the coilovers because that's a lot more expensive. I'm just going to loosely hang this in place for right now. It's like they pressed the bushing. It's like they pressed the bushing in too far on both sides. Okay, let's get this in place. Alright, just stay there. I'm going to put anti-seize on the shank of these bolts so that we don't deal with that again. Cool. I'm only going to install these loosely for right now. Once I get everything else done and the thing up into place, then I'll tighten it down. Before I move on to the shocks, I'm going to go ahead and put the power steering bolts back in. Going to put anti-seize on these as well. So I'm not going to tighten up the control arm bolts yet. I have to do the shocks first. And when I do the shocks, then I'll put the springs back in. I'll use the lift jack to push up on the control arm. So I'm trying to get the thing at the suspension at right height. And then I torque down the control arm bolts. If I torque them down while they're kind of dangling still, then they'll twist the bushing. And I can't do it when it's on the floor because there's no room. Oh, that was way too much anti-seize. Can I put some of you back into the tube? One long bolt. Number 2. Torque on these is like just tight. That's probably good. Alright, one side of this is a 21, the other is a 24. These are the bolts that hold the shock to the spindle. There we go. Yeah, this is the ABS line for your ABS sensor. I went ahead and popped it out one of the holders up here. I want to make sure it's loose. I don't want to pull the wires apart and have to go buy a new sensor. Alright, this can just stay here until I lower the car back down and get out the top. While I'm here, I'm going to go ahead and torque the nut on the ball joint. If I try to do it with the shock in place, the shock's going to be in the way. So when I got this car, it already had some, these are called CC plates, caster camber plates. So it already had these when I got the car, but these need to go. They're busted. I think on this side, it looks like the person hit a pothole, it's cracked. I'll show you once I get it off, but to get the shock out, I have to take off this top nut up here. I'm gonna have to hold the middle of the shock with a Torx bit, and then turn this nut off. There we go. Cool. And there we go. Get it off of there. So yeah, there's crack there and big crack there. Go all the way through. Yep, so this is junk. I think this is bent too. How is this shock tower still in one piece? That's definitely pushed up there. I'll have to get the other one off to double check, but yeah, this shock tower is domed now. So yeah, here's the two plates. This one, it's fine, doesn't rock. This one, yeah. Oh. Come look at how bad this is. Alright, so normal one.
This is, well, I mean, it's flat. Oh, wow. That's not right.
Up more. Yeah, right there. Nope.
Yeah. And the best part is we're putting the same ones back in. But this time we're not going to hit a pothole at 100 million miles an hour.
Alright, there we go. Now it's flat enough. Here's the new CC plates I'm putting on. They're the same brand, SR Performance from American Muscle. So according to the directions, there is a driver and passenger side. They're not identical, so I've got driver and passenger set up. So put these on, you take the part that has the bolts welded to it, you feed that up through the shock tower, then you take this piece and plop it on there. And on these, like I said, there is a driver and passenger, and the SR logo faces to the front of the car. That goes on there. Some hardware. Now I can start lifting it up and put it into the caster camber plate. So you guys can see what I'm doing. I've got the shock lined up with the caster camber plate up there. So now I can use the jack to raise it up. And there it is coming up the top. Alright, I'm going to put the jack down. Yep. And it's in.
Alright, Billy, what are we doing today?
So we're going to assemble these brake calipers so we can put them onto the car. We took them all apart, all the dust sleeve, all the O-rings. I've got new ones here to put in them. And we took the pistons out of the calipers too. So
we're completely rebuilding them, and then these are Cobra fronts, right?
Yeah, these are the Cobra fronts, these are Cobra rears.
Cobra rears. I think the rears are pretty much the same,
The rears are pretty
right?
much the same as the regular ones, the GT ones. The difference is the bracket. It's taller and it has this brace going in the front. Otherwise, they're pretty much the same part.
And Billy has painted it a magnificent color of AutoZone blue, right?
Yes.
Alright.
Yeah. Alright, so I'm going to rebuild the fronts first. For the fronts, because they have two pistons, you need to get two of these kits. These seals come with the inner O-ring and then the dust boot that goes around the piston. So you need to get two for each caliper on the front. The rears are a different one. This is what I got for the rears to rebuild them. Alright. So first, I've already moved everything and painted it, so I need to get these O-rings into that bottom groove in there. So I got a little bit of brake fluid there. Lube them up so I can slide them in easier. Alright. Yeah. Alright, so that one popped in there. There we go, that's the second one in. I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit on the pistons, so they'll slide in with these boots. So they're going to go in like this. There's an inner ring that pops onto the piston. Make sure it's sealed all the way around, alright. And this lower ring goes into the caliper. And there's an upper groove. There's a tight fit with that new seal in there. So I'm going to do this a little differently now. So I've got the boot slid onto this. I'm going to pull it down just far enough that the lip down there is free. Go ahead and put the lip in that groove on the caliper side and then push in the piston. Okay. Keep pulling the boot up. And that might have just been it. Let me see. Yep. So that's seated in the groove and on the caliper side groove. Cool. So that's one down.
Did you lube it at all? Oh,
Yep.
it's going in fine.
There we go.
Flunk. And then I think the other one might need to go in just a little bit more for the seal to... There you go. Sweet.
Yep. Alright, now to assemble the caliper, bracket, and the pads. So these things, there is an orientation to them. So the bleeder screw is always going to point up. So on this one, because the caliper sits on the back side of the wheel, this is going to be the passenger side. The bleeder screw points up. On the pads, the one that has the two clips on it, this is on the outside of the caliper. The one that has one clip is on the inside. And these two holes should be on the same side as the bleeder screw. So these are the pads that are going to go with this caliper. This bracket is also for the passenger side, because it has here the slot that the pin will go through, and this is going to be on the bottom. So to start with the assembly, I'm going to take anti-seize, go ahead and put that around here just so these things don't stick to the pistons one day. Alright, now that's going to get everywhere. I'm going to pop these in here. There we go. So these little crown pieces pop in. There we go. Now on the bracket side, I'm going to lube up where like all the rattle clips and stuff are going to sit. And then this is supposed to just slide over the clips. There we go. Pin, kind of squeeze that a little bit. Slide the pin through all the way. On the back side, you put a washer, and then one of these little, they're called E-clips or C-clips. There we go. Passenger side caliper is ready to go on. Let's get torqued to 85 foot-pounds. Nice. Alright, now I'm going to rebuild the rear calipers. These are a lot more difficult than the front ones. I already rebuilt one of them, so this is what it'll look like when it's done. And this is not fun. Alright, so to rebuild these, you're going to want a pair of these long snap ring pliers. You also need two of the kits that have all the seals and snap rings in them. So we'll start first with the piston. This is the easy part of this. There's a snap ring in there. Use your long pliers. Take the snap ring out. There's going to be several washers. Get off of there. So there's washer, followed by a wavy plate thing, another washer, and then this thing with some little ball bearings in it. A stack of things you need to hold on to. Then this just should come out. There's probably some suction on it. Yep, there we go. So there's the seal on the end of this that we need to replace. And the seal is directional. There's a bevel on it. So you need to make sure you put the new seal on the right way. Oh, there are two snap rings. The smaller one goes with the piston. The bigger one's going to go with the caliper. I'm going to take the old seal off. Silicone paste. Move up the new one. And put that on. Move that up a little bit more. This is going to go right back into the piston. And you're going to put this thing with the little ball bearings in it, goes in. Then a washer. Wavy plate. And then the other washer. And then I'm going to put the new, smaller snap ring on. Make sure that's seated in there. Piston is done. Now we move on to the caliper. So we need to get this whole center assembly out of here. And this is a little bit tricky because you have to push down on this. There is a cage that's a spring being held in. So you need to take pressure off that spring. I'm going to use a C-clamp and a vise here. This is a 1/2-inch socket. So I need to take pressure off the spring so I can get the snap ring out. And this is why you need these deep, long reach snap ring pliers. There we go. I would really like to know what kind of like proprietary tools they use at the factory to get this thing together. So out of here is going to come, obviously, the snap ring which took off, a cage with a spring in it, and there's going to be this middle piece here that has the screw mechanism on it, and that should also just kind of pop out of there. There we go. This piece with these two washers on it. These washers are important. Now in here, if it didn't come out with that screw mechanism piece, is a little pin. You will need to save this. Now with all that out of the caliper, I can pull out this ratcheting or twisting cam whatever mechanism. This is what does the like auto tensioning that screws out the piston. So pull that out, we can clean all this up, replace that seal. There's an O-ring on the end of here we can replace, and we can put it all back together. So here's a seal here. Can pop that out and we'll put the new one in place. Here's the replacement for it. So with the new seal installed, then we can put this lever thing back in there. Now, on this thing, there's an O-ring that needs to be replaced. Then there is this washer with a little nub on the bottom of it. This goes in like this, with the little nub facing down. So like that. Then this normal washer goes on. Then this little cavity in the bottom of it, you can fill that with some, or put a bunch of grease in there. I keep saying grease, but it's silicone paste. And then that will hold the little pin thing. So you can then put this into the caliper. And that little nub and that washer is going to go into a little hole in the bottom of this caliper. So right down there at the bottom, there's that little hole that the little nub and that washer is going to go in. Alright, to put it back together, you're going to put the spring in, the spring cage, the new large snap ring, which goes all the way to the bottom, and then to help center everything inside here, I found that I took this little plastic fitting, cut it down, drilled it out, and that helps to keep the cage and the spring centered around that that screw mechanism part, shaft that sticks up. Because you don't want these little tangs on the cage to get bound up and bent, so you want it to go down straight. Alright, put that in there. Socket should go down pretty easy, just if you feel it bind up, stop and take it apart and check it out. You might find it easier to hold the C-clip up so you can see what's going on down there. Yeah, I need to scoot that one over. It looks like they're all going down straight. So now I'm just compressing the spring. Alright, I think it's bottoming out now. So now I need the long pliers. There we go. Make sure that the snap ring is seated. Alright, now I think I can take this off. Looks like it's in there now. Alright, if you do use something to center it, make sure you take that back out. Then we can put the new seal in. This is going to go in the lower of these two grooves. Now we're going to take the piston. We're going to take the new dust boot, feed that down over the piston. And we actually want it to go all the way down and stretch out like this. There we go. And pull it down just past the piston a little bit, because this is the ring that's going to go inside the caliper side. It's easier to do it this way, to pop it in first like this. And you're going to pop that lip on that seal into its spot in the caliper. Make sure it seats all the way around. Alright. And push the piston down, and then you're going to start turning it in. You can use like a pair of pliers to turn it. I also have an actual brake tool for it. And as you screw it down, eventually that upper lip and that seal will seat into the piston. There it goes. Now just run it all the way down. Okay, you don't have to run it all the way down, but run it most of the way down. And make sure when you line it up, when you stop running it down, that one of the notches is at the very bottom of the caliper. This lines up with one of the pads. There's a knob on one of the pads that this lines up. Now if we're putting the spring back on, it's all a trick where you take the spring, put it into a vise, and tighten that down a bunch, and use some zip ties to hold it in place.
I recommend using 2 zip ties. Last time I did this, one snapped. So yeah, like that. And you just gotta work that into the caliper. There you go. Alright, last piece to go on the caliper is this clip for the brake pads. It's going to go in like this. It goes all the way forward, and you got to push the bottom outwards and scoot it back. So it'll go over this piece here on the caliper. Now I've got the pads in there already. So this will just go on here like this. Oh, these old pins have got a flat side. That lines up with the casting on the caliper. So that goes on there. I'm going to put blue Loctite on these. Alright. That's that fully assembled. Alright, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to pull the old rear axle out of this thing and replace it with another one that I've been working on. We're also going to put in new control arms in this end as well. Over here is the new axle that I'm going to be putting in. It's been sitting in the background for a while. I just finished rebuilding it. New Cobra brakes, new 373 rear end, Yukon limited slip differential in it, and these are 31 spline axles. So these will be very nice. But before we put this in there, you guys are going to go back in time and watch as I build this, because this has been in the background for a while and I'm working on it for several months. So enjoy.
That's not a car.
I really thought you were about to murder me with that stick that thing's on. It looks like a mace.
Yes.
This is not a car. This is a tractor.
Did you sell your S2000 and buy a Craftsman?
I definitely didn't sell my S2000.
Good.
No, I got this from a coworker. Got her running. Now I'm gonna try to put the mower deck on her and get rid of her because Billy's already got his favorite mower.
Alright, while Randy's working on that mower, I'm going to work on the axle for the Mustang. I got a brand new Yukon differential to go into it, 31 splines. I got 31 spline axles for it also, and 373 gears for the rear end. But before I can put all that in the axle, I need to get the rest of the axle ready. So I still need to do some cleaning up to it, put all the bearings and the seals into it, and I am also going to weld the center section to the tubes. Now this is going to be a little difficult to weld because the center section and the tubes, they're different materials. These tubes are steel, and the center section is cast iron. Specifically, this is nodular iron, also called ductile iron. It's a little more forgiving because of the other elements they put in there. To weld this, you have to clean up the ends. You have to preheat the whole thing. You have to keep it to, I think it's like 500 degrees-ish. Keep this whole thing warm. And the reason why you want to heat this up for welding is because these are dissimilar metals. Now, yeah, it's all mostly iron. Steel's made of iron, iron made of iron. But there are different elements in here, and they get some different properties. So the reason you want to heat it up is because when it all starts to cool, you don't want there to be stresses at the weld from the metals cooling at different rates and shrinking at different rates. The cast iron's not going to want to stretch when it cools like the steel is. So you want to get it all hot and weld, and then let it all cool down slowly. And you also need to use welding rod or wire that is high in nickel. So this is 55% nickel filler rods I'm going to be using. Yeah, that's TIG welding, but I didn't want to wait for MIG wire to show up. Plus the MIG wire was like $100 and this is $40.
TIG welding's better anyway.
Yes. Now the reason people weld the axle tubes to differentials is because from the factory there's only I think 3 of these plug welds holding in place, and it's also a press in. So supposedly it's possible, or if you put enough power down, this thing can twist inside the differential. I don't actually know if I'm going to make that much power, but I'm already here and I've got the axle apart. Why not? I'll just go ahead and do it for fun. Here's a tip. Wipe down your TIG rods before you start using them. Yeah. So to warm this thing up, I've got a propane blowtorch, and I've got a box of charcoal here to help kind of keep the center section warm in between each time I weld and hit it with a blowtorch. Plus it gives that garage that nice smoky smell. Yeah, we're only at like 70 degrees, and it's like 60 degrees out right now.
290. All right. So while the welds are still hot, I'm gonna hit them with a descaler to kind of peen them, to relieve stresses on them. And I'm going in short sections on opposite sides. How necessary is all of this? I'm not entirely sure. But the internet says to do it all. That's like everyone online is like, yeah, this stuff smells weird too. Hard to keep a good position on this. Probably because it's round, and I am very out of practice on TIG welding. And I'm standing up, and it's cast iron. Basically what I'm saying is, don't do it this way. Alright, welding's done. We're not quite done with this yet. We're gonna heat it all back up. I'm gonna wrap it up in a fiberglass blanket so it can cool overnight. Painting drop cloth. Alright, now we'll let that cool overnight. Alright, it is the next day. Everything's cool. The welds all look pretty good. I mean, they're beat up because I went over them with that scaler to try to peen them. I don't see any cracking on them. Here's the other side. I will admit I am a bit rusty on TIG welding, but that wasn't too bad. Alright, time to clean this thing up and paint it. Here's a trick for when you're welding cast iron, here's a trick for when you're painting cast iron. Because it's so porous, it can retain moisture or whatever like solvents you sprayed on it to clean it. So to get all that out of there before you paint it, you can just take a torch. You can already see like that kind of line coming down. You're just cooking the stuff out of the metal. See right there, the dark line. Look at that. That was dry a minute ago, or seemingly dry a minute ago.
So I'm going to put in Cobra brakes on this. In order to do that, I need a set of these. These are the plates that bolt to the ends of the axle that the brake caliper bracket bolts onto. I can't use the GT ones because here's one of the GT ones. It's shorter than the Cobra ones. That's because the Cobras use a wider diameter disc brake. So you need this to space out the caliper more so you can use the wider disc brake.
I decided not to go over the steps for rebuilding the Ford 8.8 differential. I already made a video on rebuilding a 9.75, and the steps are pretty much the same. Press on new bearings, set pinion depth, set backlash, check the wear pattern, crush sleeve, bearing preload, shims. It's all stuff that you've seen before on this channel. There's also plenty of other channels that have done videos on rebuilding the 8.8, so I decided to skip over this part. Here's something I do need to talk about. So these things I'm sliding over the axles, these are the ABS tone rings. They are what the ABS sensor reads, and that's what tells the computer the wheel speed for the rear wheels. I saved these when I pulled the other axle out of the junkyard. These are supposed to be a press fit, but they weren't gripping onto the new axles that I got, so I had to weld them into place. These ABS rings will get in the way of the wheel studs, so I had to press the studs in first before welding these in place. Hope I never have to take these things off. What's funny is that even though I'm going through all this effort to put them on, they're not actually doing anything on the car right now. I had to cut the ABS sensors because they were stuck into the axle, so there's nothing even reading these rings right now. This Yukon differential still uses the same center spring and C-clip style of retaining the axles, just like the factory 8.8 did. This is a limited slip differential. That's what those purple springs are for. They press outwards against the clutch packs. And I put Loctite in this little retaining bolt. I do not want this to back out. Alright, welcome back to the present, where we're getting ready to pull the old axle out.
So what's the up-down control on this guy?
This pumps it up.
Oh, the pedal down here brings it
Yeah,
down?
the pedal releases the pressure.
Oh, okay.
Definitely not
I
gonna do that.
That's real weird.
I can retrofit an air fitting onto this, air over hydraulic.
Oh yeah, we should definitely look into that.
That would make this a lot easier.
Yeah. Probably the best we're gonna do right there. Okay. That's plenty, and then we'll just strap it right there. Alright. Now I can take this lower shock bolt.
I notice when some people do this, they'll like mark where the flange was on the yoke and on the differential, but this is getting a whole new differential, so I don't care about that. Well, that's just going to sit on the exhaust for right now.
It'll be fine. See, the cool part about this is if you set this thing up right, once you take your shock bolts loose, it's not just going to fall down another 1 or 2 inches.
Yeah.
You're like in the right spot. And the other cool thing about this is Billy's giving me these nice Coney orange shocks that are still good for my crappy Mustang.
Mm-hmm.
So I've already gone around. So I already got this brake cable loose. I'm going to go start working on the other side, because these are almost out.
Yeah.
Alright, how's this thing come down?
You step on the lever.
Alright, bring it down a little bit. Try to get these. That thing almost went right into my eyeballs.
I have new one of those.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, if we reuse these springs, we might want to repaint them, but.
Yeah, I'm going to reuse the springs. Yeah, the big question is the bolt frozen in the bushing, or is it going to come out?
I definitely don't think it's going to come out based on how this side's going.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Let me get longer.
I think your best bet would be to try this side, because the nut's off, but Did it break?
I think it's turning the bushing.
Well, okay, yeah, it is turning. Alright, hold on, before we get too far. Holy shit.
It is working.
Oh man, it's so rusty in there.
A little bit. I got new bolts, so I'm not worried about how rusty these are.
Alright, last bolt. Alright, you want to grab the rear end for a second? Alright. So, if you got that side and I got this side,
Yep.
we're just going to have to, I'm going to go down slowly with this. Alright. Clear?
Yep.
Alright. Beautiful. Billy's been wanting to do this for so long.
And this transmission jack makes it so much easier.
Yeah, this thing's sweet. I like this.
This was $100. I just had to rebuild it. New seals and stuff.
They're so easy. Easy to be entertaining.
Yep.
Alright. Day 2, we're back at it again.
Yep. We got the new shocks in. CNL shocks. We've got all the new control trailing arms in.
These are Hotchkiss control arms, uppers and lowers.
Yep.
Billy's got them greased up. We got a
we got all new hardware from LMR, and so we anti-seized all the bolts, so we're not reusing any of those junk rusty ones we took out of here.
We got a nice fresh fuel filter right there.
New bracket also from
with
LMR.
the bracket as well, because it was pretty jacked up. And Billy painted as much of the rust and stuff as he could under here. So we're just about ready to stick the new rear end in. Ready, Billy?
Yep.
Let's do it. Which way are we putting it through?
I guess the bolt from the inside.
Inside out.
Yeah.
Right, hold on. Got all 4 hooked up.
Yep.
Alright, we're coming down with this. There you go. Rear end is hanging.
Nice.
Hopefully we don't have too much of a fight with the drive shaft, but this should go in. I want to get the springs in next.
I got new isolators from LMR. And the control arms already had some on there, so I'm just gonna leave them on. I had new upper ones.
Yep. That worked out pretty good. We always put the tail of the spring where they cut the spring towards the back. That way it's got a full hoop on the front. But that's how it's supposed to be. Alright. The other side. We'll get some shocks on it. Just like that. Alright.
Nice.
Now we can jack it back up. They're just, yeah.
Looking like a whole car again.
I know. Too bad it's still got the wrong engine in it.
Well, I might need to like double up with the washers on these. They're too long.
Do you have the stock bolts?
I think we do somewhere.
Actually, no. Just put all the washers under the head.
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh, I got extra washers. We're not using these other two bolts.
Yeah, we'll run it down and then we'll cut this shorter because that doesn't.
Yeah, that's a lot of extra.
I don't know why there were extra bolts.
Yeah, I don't know either because I would say maybe for the quad shock, but they're like too long for that too.
Yeah. Oh well.
So it's like 90% good hardware kit from LMR. All right, so we got all the suspension bolts torqued down. We use this floor jack thing to lift up the axle until it starts picking up the car. You want to tighten it down when it's at its right height. So the upper control arms, those get torqued to 80 foot-pounds all around. On the lower ones, it's 85 on the axle side, 100 on the body side. And then the shock bolts are 59 foot-pounds. So that's all taken care of. Drive shafts hooked back up, putting new brake lines on, and then we're going to lower it down and bleed everything. Oh, and put fluid in the diff.
Alright guys, this is the first time we've driven this thing with this new rear end. Brakes have been replaced. We're going to take this thing out and give it a little shakedown.
Breaking in the rear end, so I'm not really hammering on it just yet.
Hell yeah. That's a lot better. Yeah. I like it. Gosh, what a beautiful day to be cruising. Right, Billy? You probably can't even hear the thing we're saying. What an awesome day to be cruising. So this thing is doing great. It's not whining. It's only whining on the decel occasionally, which is better than most 373s do. There's no vibration. All the stuff that we've done this car so far has just made it 1000% better. The steering wheel's tracking straight. It rides better with these shocks and struts that Billy got. The brakes are fantastic. I can't wait to see what we do with this car in the future, but for now, that's this episode. See you later.